who,
Yeah, let all these
what?
fat cats lose their hope.
Oh gosh. Well, I would say Greg has the proudest son. Huh?
I didn't hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so Robin wants me to ask, who do you think out of the three of us has the proudest son of the podcast? She thinks it's Titus, but
I think
my
Titus
argument,
is.
I think Titus is really proud, but my argument is I think Eric is actually the proudest son because you're actually a part of.
We could bring Titus on.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love for this to be a father-son venture.
Yeah.
Robin just invalidated you as a human being, Eric. So
I'm used to it. I remember when she was an intern.
Why does
You what?
Robin hate Wallace's?
Yeah.
Why do you hate Wallace? She goes,
Is it because we're pretty?
yes, exactly. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Odd Testament podcast. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Eric.
I'm Greg.
Hi guys, thanks for being on. Everybody, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
I believe this is episode number 10, guys.
Wow.
Episode 10 already.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy.
Can you believe it's been a year since we started?
Yeah, right.
Crazy.
10 episodes in, it's been a year. Sheesh.
Yeah.
This is the place where we dive
Frantic place.
into the weird, strange, odd stories of the Bible, and whether you're like new to faith or exploring just scripture more, or just here for a laugh, you're in the right place. We love to have a good time talking scripture, talking Bible, all things faith. So today, guys, we are going to hear from Greg. Greg, you have the direction for us today. But before we do that, it's time for a get to know you question.
Getting to know you. 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 Getting to know you.
Our get to know you question, I need to set up the scenario first. Okay. Set up the scenario, then I'll ask the question.
Great.
And I need you guys to play along. Okay. Don't wet blanket me. Okay. Like, be excited. All right.
I can't wait.
But you called these, it's getting to know you, but you called it hypothetical. So I need a different song. Are these separate?
No, so hypotheticals is the name of the it's like a conversation,
The resource you have. Yeah.
game. It's not really a game. It's just like, here's to help spur on conversation. But like, I believe these will help us get to know each other better.
Okay.
And any listeners out there,
Yeah.
please feel free to answer these questions in the comments wherever you're
Please.
listening, whether that's
Yeah.
YouTube, Spotify, or wherever. Like, answer these hypotheticals
Spotify?
with us.
Yep.
In what's that?
Ooh, Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify. We're video podcasting on the same platform as Joe Rogan. We're gonna make it big, guys.
Nice.
Finally, in sway elections.
Yes.
So, okay, here's the scenario. Then I'll ask the question.
Oh, the reason I brought it up is there needs to be a different song to it. So
Oh.
hypothetical, something like
Yeah,
that.
speed metal.
Uh-huh.
It's definitely speed metal. That's yeah.
Yes, that's good.
I love how I make this easier.
Yeah.
Hypothetical.
I feel like Greg, you're the type of guy that when you're in charge, you like to run
Yes.
a tight ship, but when you're not in charge, you cause chaos.
Yeah.
Yep. You got it.
So, all right, here's the scenario, and then I'll give you the question. You are given a choice between two rewards. The first reward is to be twice as intelligent as you are right now. You will be able to read twice as fast and remember twice as much. The size of your vocabulary will double, and you'll be able to solve intellectual problems with twice your current aptitude. The second reward is that you will never again feel sick, even when you are. And you can always be whatever weight you want, regardless of what you eat or how little you exercise. You can simply imagine the body you would like to have, and that is the weight you will magically become. Which reward do you choose?
Interesting. I'm already super smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
How else
more
could
than,
we
than
do
I
it?
already am.
Intelligence or vanity? Which one do you guys go for?
I mean, both are a form of vanity, anyways, right? I mean,
Kind of, yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Wow, that's it's actually okay. Huh.
I choose
I
humility.
yes, yeah. I choose to cut the baby in
The weight
half.
loss?
And so I think I would go with I think the body type weight loss thing. What was like the first part of that again? The
Of the weight loss one.
yeah.
So you'll never again feel sick even when you are.
Oh,
So you'll
that's
always feel healthy even when you are sick.
yeah. So I always tell people I stole this from you, Dad. That the Wallaces are built like bulldogs, like all shoulders, no neck. But also the downside is our face is just like squished in, and so here in Omaha, the seasons change and weather changes rapidly, and man, I get migraines and seasonal allergies. And like, especially this time of year, like the first 3 months of 2025, I had to go to the doctor 3 different times. So I would say just for that, never being sick again, that's it. Like the weight loss stuff, that's cherry on top. Like, oh, I get to look good too. But the never being sick, I would take that every day of the week. Like, as much as being able to know more, memorize, and all that stuff, as intriguing as that is, never being sick is the winner for me.
Yeah.
That's good. Good one. Greg, what about you?
My vast intellect already causes issues. Why are y'all laughing?
No issues here.
Oh, humble. Oh, humble.
Man, double my IQ, and now I'm the smartest man on the planet. Anyway, that's not true. So the second one, I've for years joked that I'm a bubble. I should be in a bubble because I feel like I catch everything.
Yeah.
So have the grandkids over, and they're like petri dishes because they hang out with other petri dishes. Just germs, like they're growing germs. That's
Yeah.
You can just like see it on them.
Yeah, they love you too.
Nice. Finally, someone does. Anyway, but yeah, definitely the second one. But mostly for the body type. I just want to be ripped and healthy with no effort.
What's the ideal like ripped body? Okay, like not to go in like a weird thing, but I feel like every dude, like some people do like the Eddie Hall, like that can lift anything and all that stuff. But I think the other side is Brad Pitt in Fight Club, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean I mean, not to be weird, but that's a work of art. Okay.
165 pounds, 1% body fat.
Yeah. It's also weird when you see those guys that have abs that are like look like puzzle pieces. Like they're not actually like the circle or whatever. Like it has like the pointy tops in the bottom. And you're like, what happened to you? Did someone punch you too hard? Like it shifted your muscles up. Like maybe don't do that anymore.
Yeah, ideal. And how about Hugh Jackman in Days of Future Past.
Let's go. Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He's got bullets popping out of him and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's shredded like none of the other movies. I mean, in an interview I saw him, he said he dehydrated himself to almost death to get to that. Where it's just
2
muscle and
seconds.
skin. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's
You
nuts.
just peel it off. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Man, side note, people who say actors got it easy, like I don't know, like to put your body through that kind of stuff. Like, did you guys ever see The Machinist with Christian Bale? Dude got down to 110 pounds. That wasn't CGI. It wasn't like that was real. Like, that's scary that he like went that far with it, you know, like kind of crazy.
Joaquin Phoenix in the Joker movie, like he said he ate an apple, a can of tuna, and then had as many cigarettes as he wanted. That was his diet. I mean,
and he lost weight doing that.
I think so.
I just gained on it. I did that. Wait a minute. I was eating the cigarettes. Was that?
Oh,
we called that the back of the gas station diet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ryan, that character. Yeah. You?
Yes. Which reward do I choose? Given the current state of my physical being, I have to choose reward 2, and it has nothing to do with the sickness part. I get sick maybe once a year. And so like I can deal with that. I'm not worried about that. It's the weight part. I mean, you guys know me well enough. Like I'm a big guy, right? I struggle with my weight. I'd like to not have to do that anymore. Like Robin and I were just talking about that. Like she just goes, it's crazy. It's crazy how we can both eat the same thing. She goes, I don't gain a pound. But like the reaction that you have, like, yeah, you can say it. My behind jiggles for a week, you know, like, yeah. It's just different. Like, which maybe I haven't shared this with you guys. You guys you've said that your guys are, you know, stockier guys, you know, self-proclaimed, you know, maybe this might help you feel a little bit better with your lot in life. So, did you know that people who are more prone to put on weight easier, it's actually a genetic advantage? And I'm not joking. So throughout all of human history, there have been seasons of famine and feast, right? Famine and feast where there's almost no food, and then feast where there's plenty of food. And there'd be these cycles throughout the years, throughout people's life, where there's famine and feast. And people like us who put on weight really easily were built. We had a genetic advantage to be able to withstand the famine part really well, right? And so, but now we don't have to deal with the famine part anymore because we have food abundantly all the time, and so now we're just screwed. So
that feels like one of those stories you tell your doctor, and they go, yes, but you still need to take this diabetes medication.
Yeah. Blood pressure, all the things. So, but doc, I'm genetically superior.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're a big boy. Take your medicine.
Yeah.
Hide my medicine in applesauce for me. So
we're gonna put it in peanut butter for you.
Yeah. So okay. Well, guys, thank you for humoring me. Thanks for helping me get to know you just a little bit better. So, hypotheticals. So tonight, Greg, you have the discussion, and I want to throw it to you. The floor is yours.
Let's go.
Thanks, Tubby. Humor is all about timing, by the way. So we'll give it a few minutes here.
It's a good podcast, guys. I think we go out on a high note.
Nice. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Once a podcast. You guys get me. I'm crying over here. Oh my gosh. And not because it was funny. That hurt my feelings.
Ryan's like, I want to do a podcast. I want to do a podcast. Greg and Eric, will you help me on a podcast? Sure. Yeah, let's do it. What's the worst that could happen?
This is where we insert that clip of Uncle Roger. Emotional damage.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice.
That's
So if it, I don't think it helps, but I did just get my annual physical, and I'm not joking. And for some weird reason, I'm at the heaviest I've ever been, and I don't really see that as like an accomplishment, more as a failure. But all my blood work great.
sure.
So I think I'm just agreeing with Ryan's.
Yeah,
We are genetically superior.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, favor ain't fair, you know. When God blesses His chosen,
Yeah.
and you just got to accept it, you know.
For us, he's like, well, I'm going to make you short, but I'm going to make you pretty and brilliant.
I'm going to make your blood work. Yeah, people will call you dumb, lonely, fat, but that blood's going to be gorgeous, baby.
Exactly right.
This one's chosen.
Nice. So we're going to do introduce something new. Eric's idea, and I like it, is 21 questions to see what we're talking about tonight.
Because we have no idea what
Yeah.
you are talking about today. We're going to shoot from the hip. We are your students today. But
nice. It's going to, yeah, we'll see.
it'll be good. All
The
right.
topic, anyway. So 21 questions, and I answer yes or no. I'm not, that's
Yeah.
it. So
Then
anyway,
we're going to try to guess what odd and
Yeah.
interesting story in the Bible we're going to talk about.
you got
today.
it. You got
Okay.
it.
Well, can I do question number 1, Ryan?
Go for it.
Is it the New Testament?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh crap! That throws me completely off.
You already had a guess?
I thought. Well, I just thought in my mind, there's no way Greg goes New Testament, and I'm wrong. So,
Considering, his educational background. Yeah. Okay. New Testament.
okay, is it one of the 4 Gospels?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, narrows it down even more.
Okay. Is it a parable?
No.
Ooh.
Is it in the Gospel of John?
I'm sure it is, but
Oh shoot!
not
Shoot.
this one.
Is it a miracle?
Yes.
Okay.
Does the story have to do with the Pharisees?
No.
Is the miracle for a male or a female?
Gotta be yes or no.
Oh, geez, sorry, I'm bad at these games.
You're great.
If I was doing Jeopardy, I would just answer. Is the miracle for a female?
No.
Yeah,
Are you
I don't
sure
know.
this
man.
is in the Bible?
Yeah.
I give up. I give up. This
Yeah, I think I give up too.
difficult.
You win. If there's a way to
You're,
win, you
you're
win.
gonna, this wasn't a trick one. I really thought you were gonna get it.
Yeah.
I really did. And you're both gonna kick yourself if you're capable of that.
Remember, we're tubby.
Right. So I'm gonna give you a hint, and I'll start reading. On the first day of the week, very early in the morning, the women took spices.
Oh, it's Jesus raising from the dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh dang!
Let's go.
Yeah.
Going big. I love it.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow. We're going right to the big one.
This
Hey.
is our Easter episode.
Oh yeah, kind of. I mean, we probably could release this right at that time. Perfect.
So years ago, I did like 2009. So before you guys were born. First year of the Market Church. I did my Easter message was called Eggs, Bunnies, and Jesus.
Okay.
And so the odd part is one, someone raises from the dead. And the other odd part is extra biblical, but how did these things get associated with
Awesome.
Easter? Yeah.
I love this. This is going to be great.
Yeah. So anyway, we're looking at Luke 24, verses 1 through 6.
Okay.
And I'm open to the conversation really going anywhere, but to including the Passion Week and stuff, whatever, wherever we go. But what I'm particularly interested in is in addition to what we think about the story and stuff, because there's not a ton to really unpack. I mean, either you believe this happened or not.
Sure.
But I'm interested in, as pastors, how you process this time. I have made jokes, weird, but truthful jokes, that Easter and Christmas are, and I'd say Mother's Day, Thanksgiving sometimes, but really the big three are Mother's Day, Easter, and Christmas.
Sure.
Of what do you talk about? Because you've said the same thing, especially Easter and Christmas. The story's the same. And Mother's Day, there's this feeling that it needs to be real, because mothers really matter. And I like how churches are like, Father's Day. Yeah, right. Quit it. Quit it. It's
Here's
Mother's
some beef
Day.
jerky.
Exactly. Here's a knife that'll fall apart in a week that you'll throw in a drawer because you feel bad about throwing it away immediately outside.
Because I have a scripture engraved on it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so exactly. So just quit it. Churches, quit it. Just let the Father's Day thing go. Do it in announcements. Just say, fathers, we're so proud of you. Good job. And then move on.
Yeah. High fives all around. And let's get going.
Mother's Day, spend a quarter of your entire budget.
Probably worth it.
They deserve it. Father's Day is just mothers going, well, we got to give something to them to act like we value them in some way. There's no one on staff for Father's Day that's going, I need recognized. Right?
That's for Pastor's Appreciation.
Pastor's Appreciation.
That's in October.
Give me money.
That's right.
Look, I knitted this for you. Thank you, Sister Betty.
Sister Betty. Luke
never
24.
happened. I don't know why I thought of that. All right. So this is just off the top of the head, guys. This is gold. This is comedy gold. I'm just showing you the way. Luke 24. On the first day of the week, very early in the morning. This has to be NIV because I was in an NIV phase back then. Okay. So on the first day of the week, very early in the morning, the women took the spices they had prepared and went to the tomb. What is that about?
Well, Jesus has been dead, and he was buried after. And one of the problems that happened with it was he was killed on a day. Then the next day was a Sabbath time, and they weren't able to complete his burial. And so these women needed to come and finish the burial rites.
So I'm in a weird headspace. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm thinking spices.
Yeah.
Like cumin?
Hopefully. I feel like Talladega Nights where you're preferring what kind of Jesus you like. I like my Jesus with a little bit of cumin.
Exactly. Just a pinch of cayenne.
Yeah. Rolled up like a mummy behind a rock. Like
that's it. So, but they're prepping the body for burial, which they normally would have done in a different time. So
sorry.
Yeah.
Real quick, do we know what like the spices are about as far as the burial goes? Because I don't.
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
If Eric if you're interneting, then
I was gonna keep going and then I'll interrupt it if I find something.
Okay, good. They found the stone rolled away from the tomb, but when they entered, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. While they were wondering about this, suddenly 2 men in clothes that gleamed like lightning stood beside them. In their fright, the women bowed down with their faces to the ground, but the men said to them, "Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He is risen." So I know we've heard this or thought about it to some degree. These are, for me, honestly, they are interesting pieces of scripture because I'm so familiar with the story, I don't read the words.
Yeah. Which I think happens a lot, especially with, like you said, the Easter series. We kind of blur over some of the details to get to the big flashy stuff where
Yeah.
rocks are moved and figures are standing and soldiers are blinded and all that type of stuff. But yeah, no, I think that's I just found something, Jewish custom on burial stuff. Essentially, it was aloes and maybe myrrh would have been like a one that they would do, and it's to prevent the rapid decay that would happen. So it's their way of being able to go through all of the burial process without having to deal with the stench and the decay process. So that is why they're coming, which means they're probably anticipating a little bit of decay also if they didn't get to finish that part. So maybe it gives a little bit of like that kind of depth of they're not like, not only are they happy that, or not, it's going to be an unpleasant experience to be there to finish this process, but also it's their Lord and Savior that they're doing this, who they've never even thought about this happening to. So no, I think my growing up in the church, man, I've been to coming on 35 Easter experiences at church, and there's to kind of gloss over some of these beginning things. It's almost like, okay, get to the good part, but this is a really, like, this is a tragic time for the followers of Jesus, but also, I mean, the land, we take what happened. A bunch of chaotic things just happened, like veils being torn in half, potentially people rising from the dead. Like there's a lot of chaos happening in this moment, and it's only going to continue from here.
Story of Jesus through the whole thing, right? I want to joke about this, but I think the point is so really solid that I don't really mean it as a joke. He's been doing this since day one. So he's born, and it's a bunch of angels singing to shepherds. They shouldn't be announcing to shepherds. So Jesus is a diva. That's the part that I'm, I offended somebody there. But that's where the joke I was leaning up. But just the flip of everything all the time. There's no point at which Jesus is saying anything you have going on is correct. There's nothing that he's saying is correct. So everything is flipped from the very beginning. It's and like I've said, I probably have said it here before, is this a common term is an upside down kingdom. And I think our kingdom is the upside down one. The ones that we're following, that power is that power needs to be a form of domination, that power needs to be exhibited so that people act in response, deference to it, that actual Bible questions involve authority. That is a personal pet peeve right now, is that the idea that should this group have authority over this other group, and it's such a jacked up point of view when we're talking about the life-giving nature of the gospel, that we're having petty conversations about who's in charge, and that certain genders shouldn't, I should just say it, that women some reason should be subservient to me because I was born with a genetic differently than them. It's just crazy to me. And it's easy for me to make fun of and belittle. And so that's not good, really argumentation, to be honest. But, and I say, but not to justify that. I apologize
no, you're
for
good.
that. but I think the idea that somehow that we have these authority questions is silly in comparison to the fact that this central story is that Jesus was dead and then he wasn't.
Yeah.
How do we have these petty conversations? Once saved, always saved. Or, you know, can you lose your salvation? Look, I get that some people are having these conversations, but what a waste in comparison to this story. And I'm probably being overly bold about this, but I mean, I am being a little more direct, but I really am impassioned by this, that there are elements to this gospel that have given me life, and the same for each of you, and millions of others. And it seems to me that it's more profitable to look at these things. So I don't know how I got off on that little train.
Well, there's something interesting. I mean, Ryan, I don't know if you deal with this as a lead pastor right now, but there's so much like when someone in your congregation, someone new, begins their journey of following Jesus, discipleship, formation, apprenticeship, whatever word you want to apply to any of this stuff, some of the first questions that I get are, okay, like, what are the do's and don'ts? Like, what do I need to stop? What do I need to start? And there's a real temptation for me as a leader, having seen so many people kind of trip up on their journey, to kind of overly like structure it and say, this is what it needs to be and this is what it needs to be. But man, I'm always challenged in those moments to go, right. Like I said this recently to someone in my church that is new in their followingship of Jesus. I said, write down this feeling right now, because you're going to need to come back to it. Like this feeling where you're just fascinated with the personhood and then the godhood of Jesus. Like this is the key, most important thing. Everything else, like I think, like you just said, Greg, is details. Like, but that's not where he's at. He's in this higher place and wants to bring freedom consistently to your life. So yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, we can, I think we mentioned it a couple episodes ago, but not being able to see what is good because there's just so much distraction in the way of that stuff.
Yeah, in theology sense, I've heard these other, what I'll call, to me, very odd questions that have been normalized, such as the ones I've mentioned and a bunch others. But I've never heard anyone say, so theologically, is there somewhere I can help? Is there, I'm wondering theologically how I might bring more life. And how would you define life so that I can participate more? Right, but instead I get conversations about, well, what is sin, and stuff. And look, I get the thoughts, and I see, for me, some of the issues that are involved. And I don't think a question like that is a dead question or a pointless question, but there are more, there are better ones that lead us to, and I'm not saying sin might be a good one, but the answer is anything that separates you from God. Is sin to you. Susanna Wesley has a version of that, and it's just brilliant. And so, but anyway, I think it's this central story. This is the central story. If this didn't happen, then there's nothing to what we're doing. I mean, it's just another religion. This is the thing that makes it next level, right?
Yeah.
Is that it's an overcoming of death that's going on here. So, all right, I'm gonna.
Yeah, and I think I think it's important to clarify too, like distinguish, like our ultimate, as Christ followers, our ultimate authority should be the scriptures, but our faith hinges on this.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Mhm.
without this story of Jesus resurrecting from the dead, we have no faith, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
scriptures don't matter, you know? And so like maybe that's really bold, and maybe that's too far, but like
No.
that's what this whole thing is about. You know,
Mhm.
Jesus beating death, hell, and the grave, and coming back, and like without that, like it loses its teeth, you know. And so
Yeah. Well, I think that's I think it was Tim Mackey when he's kind of talking about the authoritative word of like nature of the Bible. He says Jesus isn't Jesus because of the Bible. The Bible is the Bible because of Jesus.
mhm.
Nice.
Like, and
Right. Yeah.
I think that one, and like all the studying that we've ever done, and so many other people well before us and much more smarter and educated, all that stuff.
Whoa.
We can yeah, they answered the first question at the doubling the intelligence. So
Exactly.
we look good, but they're fat nerds.
That's it.
And maybe anyways, but
You're so vain.
there's a like a mistake that I think Jesus really, I mean, to the story of the Sabbath of Jesus healing on the Sabbath, that man, we forgot what the scriptures are supposed to lead us to. It was supposed to lead us to Luke chapter 24,
Yeah.
this moment right here. So yeah,
exactly. So I'm going to switch up, and we'll come back to the serious part, the weighty part. But I want to interesting stuff. This is stuff that I researched back in 2009. And it sounds right still. So if we have a listener and they respond, I'd love to hear anything in addition, or if I'm just way off base. But this is really interesting. So where does Easter come from? Why call it Easter? What's going on? And I've got a few of these. So the ancient Saxons celebrated the return of spring with a crazy festival commemorating the goddess of offspring and of springtime, Iestra.
there you go.
Yep. When the 2nd century Christian missionaries encountered the tribes, they attempted to convert them to Christianity. It turned out it would have been suicide for these early Christian converts to force the tribes to not celebrate their festivals. So the missionaries decided to allow them to celebrate their feast, but to do so in a Christian manner.
This is similar to Christmas also,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Except just go Saxon, right? Or yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's I mean, I think in high school we called that missionary dating, where
Yeah.
you brought someone you thought was cute
Uh-huh.
to church, and in
Yeah.
order to date them, you made sure they raised their hand for Jesus.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
at McDonald's later that evening,
Mhm.
you could hold hands with them.
Okay.
And Jesus wouldn't be angry at you when you did that.
Got
So did we just do that with holidays? Is we just missionary dated and we said, hey, we
Yeah.
don't want you to kill us, but we also want you to be Christians. So like,
Sort of. Yeah.
hey, we'll just say Jesus died on this day.
I have shout out to Bib, who is the receptionist at our church. She's wonderful. She's just such a great person. That she allows me to speak to her is really interesting. Is really fun. But she says that she listens every week. So it's great. She watches on YouTube, and I just absolutely love that. That said, she says I'm often just shaking my head at what you guys say. So I think that's where we
That's fair.
land, is that we're kind of pulling the rug out of some things, but we're also kind of making fun of things. But
Sorry,
I'm still
Bib.
for it.
Sorry, babe. We love you. Thank you for listening.
She is so
Make
great.
sure to like and subscribe.
Exactly. Baby,
Share with all your friends.
if you could give us 5 stars, that would be great. Leave a comment. So anyway, the date of Easter, which is super weird, is right along with this. Because last year it was March 31st, which was way too early.
True.
And this year it's April 20 something,
20th, yeah.
20th. Okay.
420, baby. Let's
Oh,
go. Jesus up in smoke.
That'll be Bib going, I don't know what they just said, but I'm just going to shake my head at it. So, did we gain subscribers from that?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. I'm
We
not
should.
denominationally affiliated, so I'm good.
You're good.
Oddly enough, those new subscribers happen to live in Colorado. So
Nice. So they're good.
yeah.
Like,
Let's go.
dude, I've never thought of that. Was he ever really dead? Maybe he was just on some really good stuff, man.
Which sorry, timeout.
Yeah,
That is an
yeah.
actual that's an
It is.
actual argument
Yeah.
that some Muslims make, that Jesus never actually died. He was just like in a short coma, or
Sure.
he was recuperating. Like, how does somebody respond to that? Because that is just,
geez, that's a totally
to
different
me,
thing.
so ridiculous. I just, like, it's such a surprising thing to me. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
Most of the responses to his resurrection that I've seen involve the amount of testimony and who the testimony's from, and the course of their life after the testimony.
Yes.
So that they would have to be something wrong with them to go die for this testimony about something that is so dramatically true. But I don't know that that from a philosophical stance, it totally works, because stories are still notoriously bad. But I do think it to me, it carries some weight. It's just it doesn't answer the answers don't answer everything. So it still comes down to honestly, either you think this happened or it didn't. But there's a good sized group of people coming out of this with firsthand experience going, yeah, this is crazy. This thing happened. So
have you guys heard of Wesley Huff?
Uh-huh.
I haven't.
So Wesley Huff is an apologist. He lives in Canada. Really brilliant dude.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
That's
he took
joke.
the first reward. He took the first reward, but he's also jacked already. So
He kinda is, yeah.
kind of a
Yeah.
jerk, I'm
I mean,
just kidding.
both. Tag Wes Huff
If you
in
ever
this.
see this, Wesley, I respect you. So
I don't know
he
you,
responded. He responded to this. I don't know him either. I would love to have him on the podcast one day, though. But he responded to that. I heard, and I was like, oh, that's a really good response. He goes, is there overwhelming proof that Jesus died? Well, I guess not overwhelming proof, but there's sufficient evidence. And he said the evidence that I would point to is that the Romans were really, really good at crucifixion. They were really good at it.
Yeah, well versed,
And
well
so-
practiced.
Yes. And so, like, he said that's really good evidence that Jesus didn't survive. Just how brutal they were and how good they were at that style of execution. So, anyways,
Sure. And there's an interesting thing, especially religions kind of trying to renounce other religions, especially their primary figures. And so I think it's a very interesting, if that's the conversation that you're entering into. You're either talking to someone who's very knowledgeable or someone who's not at all. That is a statement that they decide to make as a defense of their faith, is to renounce your faith in order to make theirs more legitimate. So to delegitimize Jesus in order to legitimize your faith is a very weak debate strategy. It is one, but it is one that puts you constantly in the defense now, that you have to prove every little thing that is said about your thing. And there is no act of faith that goes beyond the witness or testimony outside of the text that you're given. And if that's where you want to go, especially in the conversation between the Muslim faith and the Christian faith, we are talking about the testimonies between the two, and their prophets and their individuals are very different. And it is the difference between one person saying it's true and it happened versus a multitude. And so you got this faith, and then Christian faith says there's multitudes of evidence of written testimony of all of this stuff, of witness of these acts happening, versus the one testimony. And so I'm getting ready to go into a place that's a little deeper than my kind of understanding of the religious texts for that. But I'm saying this in general with any religion, even atheism in its own religion, is if you have to denounce it in order to make your point more valid, man, you're already on the losing battle there.
Yeah. A form of that would be, in my opinion, one of the lowest versions of argumentation is attacking the other side. Since ideally a conversation or an argument is about ideas.
Yes.
And so at the point that you switch to attacking the bearer of the idea, you either had you shouldn't have had the conversation because it wasn't valuable to you in the first place, or you're so insecure that your idea can't hold up, or you're just bad at arguing and they're winning. So, all right, date of Easter.
Yeah.
Date of Easter. This is the date of Easter is super weird. Like I pointed out, that last year was March 31st, too early. Easter is celebrated on the first Sunday that occurs after the first full moon on or after the vernal equinox, which is and the vernal equinox is always on March 21st. Therefore, Easter must be celebrated on a Sunday between the dates of March 22nd and April 25th. I wonder if Jesus put that into his accounting when he was figuring out when to die.
He was quite the astrologist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Easter eggs.
Yeah.
How do we get Easter eggs? Because they're tons of fun, right? Did you guys, Eric? I should know this, but I don't. Did you guys ever do Easter egg coloring, and Ryan, or do you guys do it now with your youngins?
We've tried, but my children will not contain it to an egg, and so we're just like
the dog.
Yeah, it'll just turn into everything. It'll become tie-dye shirts. Well, if we can do this with eggs, can we do it with our hands?
Yeah.
What about my tongue? Hey, buddy, don't lick the tie-dye water. And so we bypass it now,
Yeah. I feel that. I think it's signs of genius, of creativity. And Ryan, why are you shaking your head? The YouTube can't see you shaking your head, but are you sad because our my grandkids are geniuses?
You would think it's a sign of genius now that you don't have kids to worry about. Your kids are all grown, so you don't have to worry about cleaning up and keeping them alive.
Yeah. Hey guys, considering the price of eggs right now, I don't think we're going to be doing it either. So
yeah, nice. So Ryan, do you color eggs? Do you do all that?
We tried it once with the dye, I think a long time ago. Didn't really work, and so I think the next year we tried like markers instead.
Yeah.
Like let's color hard-boiled markers or hard-boiled eggs with markers, and that was kind of not a hit. Like our kids didn't really like it, so we just kind of don't do it anymore.
There you go.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So you stolen joy from their lives is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Where did that come from?
So eggs have stood as symbols for new life and fertility. And no difference here throughout. And so in medieval Europe, eggs were forbidden during Lent. I don't know why. Would need to look that up. But eggs laid during that time were often boiled or otherwise preserved. Maybe well, they still have to be boiled if they were pickled, but anyway, somehow preserved. Eggs were then, because of this, they were a mainstay, a big important thing of Easter meals, because they couldn't have them. Lent is pre-Easter,
Right.
so they couldn't have them until Easter, and so eggs were great, and therefore they were a prized Easter gift for children and servants.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. Yeah, I told you.
So it's still somewhat like it's not like this is actually probably the closest religious thing that at least comes from like a tradition that isn't from a pagan holiday previously. Like this is as close to a Christmas gift as you can get, right? I mean,
Well, I think the fertility stuff and spring, new planting of new crops, and
Sure.
you need the gods to bless things. In
Yeah.
my opinion, this would be related to this, and it's interesting how many consistencies there are through different. It's not religions, but what I'll call supernatural belief in how supernatural happens, and that you need to appeal to God for favors and things
Yeah.
like that. Regardless of whether, and we're talking ancient times to medieval times, and all of this. So you find some of this stuff. It's all has its own little twist on it, often depending on the weather, where it's at. It really affects things. So
interesting.
Easter Bunny. We're going to close this out with did you know stuff. Easter Bunny, hares and rabbits, which are different, but have long been symbols of fertility because they can make a lot of themselves in a short amount of time. All right. The bunny is a part of Easter, seems to, that's the best I could get to at the time. I remember doing this, seems to have originated in Germany, where tales were told of an Easter hare, Hare. Not H-I-R. Anyway, who laid eggs for children to find. German immigrants then brought the tradition to America with them. Back in Germany, rabbits often made their nests in fields, and this gave rise to the children's belief that rabbits laid eggs in the fields as well. Thus, the Easter egg hunt was born. Easter baskets are supposed to resemble those nests.
Huh.
For the eggs the Easter bunny will bring. So the children would make nests or the baskets, which this whatever creature that we're talking about would lay its colored eggs. Additionally, children often left out carrots for the bunny in case he got hungry from all his hopping. And yes, there are some Santa Claus things, because Santa Claus also came from that larger area of the world.
Sure.
So concept. So
lay out gifts to receive blessings and gifts, and interesting.
Yeah. So are you guys going to preach about that now that you have it?
My wife's actually preaching
nice.
on our Easter, and so I'm excited. I'm ready to get saved.
Nice.
And
she's gonna think you just made fun of it. So you gotta back off that.
I gotta no. It's gonna be a good one. But no, it's that's interesting. Like so what? Like, so is it purely that these just seem to have positive things that we've just kept attaching it to church, or did those things happen and then the church just glommed onto it and then brought it into our event cycle?
Well, if this, and I'm sure somebody knows, but if this path to this happening in the United States is true, then people just brought it with them. This is part of their tradition. A tree in your house for Christmas. Some people get all weird about that. Look, it's just a tree in your house.
It's an idol.
Right. It's not. If you think it is, then
it is.
Don't have a tree. Yeah. This isn't, it doesn't, maybe you just have a conviction about it, and it doesn't need to be for everybody else. You just don't want, it's weird to have a tree in your house. It's, I don't know, what would the word be? Odd. Ryan, odd.
Yep.
Okay. So,
kind of a sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
great.
There's what this kind of brings up for me into a little bit of how we started this has the holiday in churches distracted us from this story? Like, have we gotten, like, I know, again, having been in churches, and we're doing like a little egg hunt for our church when
Yeah.
our kids and family members and stuff like that. But like, has this being, I mean, Easter is Super Bowl Sunday for a church. Like, it's the time that you do the most services, the most amount of people are going to show up. Like, it's and so you put on your best of your best. The production's the best. The message needs to be A+ because hopefully they show up. But statistically, the lowest attended Sunday in all of the year is the week after Christmas, or not Christmas, Easter. And so have we gotten distracted from, as cheesy as it is? I know I'm already kind of mixing the two holidays, but the reason for the season, like, my genuine question, like, I don't know if I have a good answer, but there are definitely times I feel like I'm distracted by the event and not the actual event that happened. I don't know. What about you guys?
Yeah, 100%. I think the church, the Big C church as a whole, can get really distracted with the things that are supposed to promote the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know, like, for us, like, we're gonna do an Easter egg hunt after service for the kids in our church, you know. We're gonna have a photo booth too, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. And we're gonna do it because it's a nice thing. People dress up for Easter, they want Easter pictures with their families, and we create that opportunity for them. It's creating a memory and all that, you know. But it's just like, it's brain power that is being diverted away from like souls being changed that day,
sure.
in my opinion, you know what I mean? For me, you know, like, because we're small enough right now to where I have to have my hands in a lot more things than just, you know, preaching and teaching, you know. And so I'm spending a lot more time trying to think through things like that, because people want it, and that's fine that people want that stuff. But like, I just, like, I don't ever want to forget why we're doing all that stuff. And I think it does get lost sometimes.
For sure.
Yeah. As a older pastor, and Eric, you're a part of it, I think that one of the areas of I was doing a live for the whole church that we started. I was doing a live experiment that I believed in. It wasn't just, I had questions about leadership and how it was set up. And so I had the opportunity to change how we thought about leadership. And so I did. And I'm very happy about it. I think it's one of the things we truly won at, and it worked. If I would have just asked people to give money, then it may still exist. But that said, a bit of what I want to encourage you and anyone else who's in ministry, and this is easier said than done, but is to recruit people to help think about things that are not your personal passion, especially as an entry into taking more responsibility as a church. And so you're probably already doing this. I'm not, I don't presume to think that, here, let me shame you and also give you advice. And that's not my intent. And I hope it's not the experience, but not even a but, and I hope it's not the experience, period. I found that I cared about the story so much, and that we communicate, that I don't lose the passion for this thing, because it redoing the same story makes it mundane. It makes it sometimes even tedious. And so I found that if I can get people who are learning to be creative, I can use this as a chance to help people enter into a new level, another level. I don't like the word level, but you understand what I'm saying. of engagement in the church.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring you, because I actually do think you can answer some of these things or begin to work on them. And I've done it so much that I'm actually decent at this, but I'm so decent at this that I'm kind of losing the spirit, not the spirit of it. I'm not really losing it. I care enough that I know that I don't want to phone this in. But I need some new blood. I need some new thoughts. I need some fresh air blowing into this thing. And so it allowed me to engage at these holidays in a different way.
Yeah.
In that it became a chance to help grow people or really challenge other leaders to say, bring people on your team so that we have new people being asked these questions. And seriously, as much as we don't remember it because it's been a while, but you never thought about these things until you started doing them. And so to bring people along and have them deal with these questions also is not dumping on them. If you're dumping on them, you're doing it wrong. And that's too easy to say it that way, but that is still true. Sure. But we can bring them along and actually introduce them to leadership. I'm using the word leadership a lot, but it doesn't fit the way it's typically used as leadership, but entering into the thought train at a different level than they had before. It had just been show up at Easter and this is what happens. For sure. But now they're a part of the, and I do this with, I make fun of Father's Day and stuff, but this is also the things that I do. If I know that I'm not the guy, I get really annoyed trying to figure out what gift to give, what things do we, and there's people who, this is a brand new thought for them, so it's actually exciting.
Yeah.
And that's anyway, just an encouragement. I applied to anyone who's listening, but also you guys. Hopefully that's helpful. Yeah. If not, then I just I feel better about myself having shared it, and that's really the goal.
I think I think there's an interesting practice that we, the listeners who maybe are familiar with this the rising of Jesus story, and it maybe does feel a little mundane, or you've breezed past it, or you haven't looked at it. One, take this Easter as a time to maybe dive deeper into the Passion Week, and then let that open up the resurrection a little bit differently. There were significant things that happened leading up to Jesus's death, including the Passover feast and doing communion that we get to practice hopefully on a regular basis in your church. We've done it a few times. We missed it last year, if I'm remembering correctly. But we did do it last year. I'm now remembering on our the day that would be the Passover community day for in the Passion Week. At dinner that night, we do a mini communion with my boys. And so one of the things that we wanted to incorporate is Easter is not a day. It is a time in which we are participating with what Jesus was doing. And so what did he do during this time? Well, he sat with people who he loved and loved him. And he broke bread and he showed them the example of the promise that he was about to partake in. That's the new covenant. And so I think there's an opportunity for us who maybe, especially if you're working in ministry, you're already feeling the pressure, or have, depending on when this episode comes out. But we got to get this done. We got to get this done. But man, what are we working for? What is it? Has he risen? This is what we were anticipation of. And kind of going back to the heart of this, the beginning of this stuff. That being said, I am a huge fan of what I call mile marker moments within your faith life. Something where you get to go back and say, I remember at this time. You get pulled over on the side of the road. Greg, when you were teaching me how to drive, you said, hey, pay attention to the mile markers, because you might get to a stretch of an area where you need to be able to say, I just passed this mile marker, and it's going to be so much easier to find you if you know where you're at, because you're going to be able to locate where you've been and then how to get to you now. And
Yeah.
so I think Easter gets to be those opportunities, especially for the first time, second time, the coming back person that gets to listen to this story with fresh ears, fresh eyes.
Yeah.
And this is why we do church. It is not for the liturgy on every other Sunday. Those are to equip the saints and to edify the body and to worship and glorify God. That's every Sunday. If we could just take this Sunday to remember as many people as possible, create a mile marker of God met you here. So when you feel like he's not, or you're far away, where did you feel him last? Where did you see him last? I think this is so important. And why, because like you said, this moment right here, Luke chapter 24 and how the other gospels place it, is the key moment of our entire faith. Let's not miss it.
Yeah.
And so just thinking about the idea that this could become mundane or tedious is just wild to me.
Yeah.
And what I'm about to say is not meant to shame, because I'm guilty of allowing this to become mundane in my own life, right? But like I think like the death and resurrection of Jesus it's kind of become like kitschy, just like cheesy. Oh yeah, Jesus died and rose, But I think about it like, so I've heard a story. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if someone made this up or whatever, but Smith Wigglesworth, this great minister in England in the 1800s or whatever, I heard a story once that he walked into a funeral and he grabbed the body and he threw the body against a tree outside and it came back to life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's crazy when this guy who's nobody comes back to life, but the savior of the world is resurrected, and it's somehow just like, oh yeah, like it's mundane and tedious.
Yeah.
So like it's mundane and tedious because we hear it so much, but we hear it so much because I don't think we fully grasp the gravity of it, when we need to. And I'm speaking to myself. I'm a Christ follower for 22 years now, and I'm a pastor for many, many years now, and I still need to know like the gravity of this story, because it literally is the foundation of everything I believe. And so that just kind of off the top of my head, you had mentioned, Greg, like this can become mundane or tedious. That is wild, because it's so true, but it's just wild that we allow ourselves to get to that place with this. So
it's really natural. I want to ease it, because I don't think that at levels, and I don't think you're expressing this, but to anybody who's listening, that the goal here isn't shame for no point. It's that it's to, and it's not just to bring awareness, but it's to, can we breathe life in this thing intentionally? One of the things that happens is you guys are both married. You could say you love your wife. It's a different thing to breathe life into that relationship. It takes such a level of intentionality and just so many levels of what that could even mean. You're like, how could it even be mundane? Because you do it every day. This actually makes sense. This is how just things happen. And so it makes it important that we do it intentionally, that we think about it, that we, it's okay to go, I got to figure out a new Easter thing. I got to figure out a new Christmas thing. That I, as a leader, I think that's okay. As long as it doesn't only become that we are leading communities. We are trying to help people continue to engage. But and I say we're leading communities and we're trying to help people engage. We're trying to help people find Jesus. And I would say, but we're not only trying to help people find Jesus. We are helping people begin their discipleship, or as Comer calls it, apprenticeship under Jesus. But we're also helping people continue their apprenticeship under Jesus. And at
Yeah.
different levels, the longer we have been involved with this, the more Easter services we've been a part of, and the more we know this is how this happens. Every service you probably go to that you run involves worship and prayer and giving and the preaching. That's how evangelical churches are set up. That's our liturgy.
Yeah.
It really is. So that we don't have a reading of the Old Testament and a reading from the New Testament doesn't mean that it's not liturgy. It is.
Right.
It's a form of ritual that we follow, and it's okay. This is what it takes to within reason, manage a community.
Yeah.
And that's part of our jobs is management, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It may not be the reason you got into this,
Yeah.
but it's a part of it. And I think it's really positive that we're helping people do that. All that said, let me finish out and come back to something I wrote way back when. And it was in reference. So we just covered all this bunnies and eggs and Easter and stuff. And I wrote, then there is Jesus.
Mm.
And is all this other stuff really what Easter is about? I think what it is about is hope.
Mm.
That Easter is best understood as a statement of hope. When everything is lost, when all hope is dead, when there's nothing to look forward to, you know that a stone can be moved and burial shrouds can be discarded.
Come on.
This is the message. Be like Jesus. Accept the illogical, the unreasonable, give everything up and trust God. The same God who raised Jesus from the dead will take care of you. Jesus says, take up your cross, die to the things you need to, and let God then resurrect you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many different ways you can express that. But for me, the core is always hope. You want to see me get intense, it's people deserve hope. People, God has given hope. We are agents of hope.
Yeah.
We get this message. We have been given the message of reconciliation to bring people back into the arms of God. They belong to Him. So many don't know it.
Yeah.
For those of us who do, we can forget it. It becomes tedious sometimes. At its worst, it becomes tedious. At its worst, we forget that it's important.
Yeah.
At its best, we can celebrate it. And at its best, we can celebrate it together, that we see and remember. This is the call of communion, right? Together, remembering. Do this in remembrance of me. How much more so when the fulfillment of everything that He's doing is saying, look, I'm locking down a covenant here, but just wait. Because he wasn't shy about saying, no, I'm coming back. We just didn't catch it. We didn't catch it. If we were there, we wouldn't have caught it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No different than the disciples. We're no different than the apostles. We're no different than the Sadducees and Pharisees and Essenes and Zealots. We're no elements of this all across us in all of our communities. And we all are trying to figure out, how do we respond within the community? How do we respond to the reality of God in our lives? How do we respond to the challenges around us? And God has given us a very clear response. Look, I'm going to raise my boy. I'm going to raise my son from the dead.
Yeah.
This is one that I looked down and said, in him, I am well pleased. And then He let him die. Just how heavy is that?
Yeah.
But He sees something different coming, and this kingdom has been flipped. And we get to express this. We get to give people hope every single day. As Eric, I think, pointed out, that this is Easter anytime we want, because we're simply remembering that our Lord and Savior gave Himself with no reservations, had the chance to get out of it with no reservations, said, no, I'm in for what my God has called me to do.
Yeah.
And this is our example, guys. This is our example. And our trust is that if Jesus died and was raised, that somehow, some way, we trust Him. We're like, we can have this sense of Abraham. who saw his son. If God takes him, then God will bring him back.
Yeah.
Man, this is some of the hope, and however we get to express it in whatever words, whether it's Eric, it looks like you're doing something to do with the battle of maybe good and evil and things like that.
Yeah.
And Ryan, I don't know what you're doing with this Sunday, but man, we get to be agents of hope, and I just love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
So
Amen.
good. So good.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite lines in Luke 24. It's verse 8. Then they remembered his words.
Nice.
Yeah. The angel calls them not to a new promise, but what did he already say?
Yeah.
Remember, he said this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And now you are the living proof. Not just him. He was always the living proof.
Yeah.
Now you, by your testimony, are the living proof that what he said was true.
Yeah.
So every time we get to lead one more person to a life with Jesus, living proof. And then it gives you that opportunity. Then I remembered what he did for me, what he's going to keep doing for others. Come on.
So great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Man, I'm hyped for Easter. Let's go. I'm ready to go.
That's good. That's good. I think that's the perfect place to end it, to call it
There you
quits,
go.
guys. Like, Greg, thank you. Thanks
Thanks.
for bringing that.
Yeah,
man.
that was a
really
good word.
So, all right, guys, if you listeners, you are enjoying the Odd Testament podcast, we would love your support. The best way to help us to keep bringing all this odd and inspiring content your way is to show us some love. And here's how you can do that. First, take a moment to rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, give us those reviews. 5 stars only, please. Nothing else, nothing will do other than 5 stars. So please do that. Next, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so you stay up to date on all those things. And finally, follow us on social media for all updates and clips and highlights and all that. Yeah, Greg, you just got to do it, huh? You just cannot help yourself. I love it. I love it. Yeah, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We're on all those platforms. So come find us, interact with us, let us know who you are, where you're listening from. We would love to hear from you. Your support means the world to us, guys, and together we can keep bringing this odd and amazing content to the world. And so, guys, I want to end it with this. I have a dad joke for you that I heard that I actually wanted to share. And so, yes. So here's the dad joke. What do the Titanic and the Sixth Sense have in common? The movies. What do the Titanic and the Sixth Sense have in common? Give up.
I don't know. I do.
Give up.
Yeah.
I see dead people.
Nice.
Yes.
If I give
soon.
one I just heard yesterday, am I stealing your thunder? You can
No,
edit
do it.
this out if you want. Okay.
No, do it.
What do you call a Mexican who hates protein shakes?
Oh man, I'm interested in this one. This one's gonna hit home for me.
No way, Jose.
Yes, that's good. I love that.
Facebook. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yes.
God,
All right,
good.
guys. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.